Head over to miniaturemarket.com where they have thousands of board games at discounted prices, and you can sign up for product alerts. Hello my friends, it's the Game Boy Geek here. Today, we're going to be taking a look at my top 5 children games of the year. 2022 was an amazing game for gaming, probably one of the best I can remember in recent history. Many years I don't even do a top anything children's game. But this year there were a handful of great ones, so here we go.
Number 5.
All right, the first one is Disney Return of the Headless Horseman game. Now, this is from Funko Games. It's a cooperative game where you're simultaneously selecting cards and you're trying to match the card number and then move that far on the board. Now, if you don't match, you're going to keep playing cards until you have a match, but the more cards played equals, the further the Headless Horseman is going to come, and you don't want him to catch you because if he catches you, it makes you closer to losing. Now you got to do this without communicating. So you're looking at the board and you're trying to land on different spaces. Some of them give you bonuses. Some of them allow you to have shortcuts to cut across the board faster, get to the end because you're trying to get to the end to win, cooperatively. So you're trying not to land also on, spinner tree places that'll make the Headless Horseman move faster, or scare spaces, which is also going to get you closer to losing. And so it's like this thing where you're not communicating, but you're looking at the board and you're trying to be on the same page. You may or may not have that card. If you don't, you'll go for the next best thing and see what they do. And so you're trying to do this thing and read each other's minds and play the cards. It's just a fun, light little game. It has a little spinner that kids love. The spinners are just so funny in games, but it works. It's like a nice spinner in this one. It's like the big tree and stuff. And then you're trying to get to the end before you get 4 pumpkins from scare cards before you lose. And so it's a fun little game, but also kind of like when you have this hand of cards, and as you get down and you get to 1 card, you don't have to play it. You get to draw back up some cards. And so you're never forced to play cards you don't want to play. You always have some choices. It's a clever little kids game. It's fun, it's light. If you have little ones, this is a great one to do that with.
Number 4.
The next one is called 1001 Islands. This is from co-designed by 2 heavy hitter designers, Bruno Cathala, my favorite designer, Antoine Bowser, who did 7 Wonders and a bunch of other stuff. This is a game where you're drafting tiles. Each player gets to pick, once you get to draft a tile, who picks next, which is fun because you're looking at players' boards and you're saying, oh, you know what, I'm going to do this, but I'm going to have you go next and you should not let them get that tile because that's really going to help them. And then they have to stop it. Then they pick the next player like, well, you need to take that, stuff like that. So you get to decide turn order after you take a card when it's your turn. You're building a board of different tiles, or you're trying to get scoring tiles, and it's kind of cool. So when you draft tiles, the first person's going to decide, hey, we're going to take regular tiles that we're building, or we're going to go after goals, right? And so you're picking goals to try to score, and you're trying to take the tiles to score with the goals, but it's pretty free form as to when you do that throughout the game, which makes it feel differently. There's also these cool things like magic lamps, and the magic lamp tiles are really cool, but once you get your third one, which is your third wish, the other 2 magic lamps turn over and you don't get what's on those tiles. So you could be actually hosed sometimes because you got 2 wishes, it's great. Someone forces you to take on with a wish that you don't want. That's kind of fun too. It's really clever, it's very light. There's all these different ways to score, all these different gold tiles, and you're just trying to get the right tiles in the right spots and the right levels. And you're, again, picking your goals as you go along. It's a fun little kids game, 1001 Islands.
Number 3.
This next one is based off of the kids' Ticket to Ride game. I think it was called First Journey. This one's called Ticket to Ride Ghost Train. It came out around Halloween. Now, you might be wondering, well, how does this differ from regular Ticket to Ride? Well, when you draw cards for the train cards, you're just drawing them off the top. So you don't know what you're getting, you just draw off the top. It keeps it a little easier, a little faster. Also, the ticket cards are also random, but they're face up when you finish it and you just draw another one. So a lot more streamlined, make it easier. And if you're blocked, you can discard tickets and get new ones that you know that you're not going to be able to get to. Then there's other board bonuses and stuff. So it takes sort of Ticket to Ride itself and sort of makes it a little easier, a little quicker for kids, a little more random, but also still gives them some fun choices to think about. So if you like Ticket to Ride now and you want to play one with the younger kids and you haven't had any, this is a fun little theme one, and that's Ticket to Ride Ghost Train.
Number 2.
This next one is very unique. This is called Wonder Book. And so this one is like a pop-up book. It's an adventure game, cooperative game, where you're going around, you're rolling dice. It's kind of like a Ameritrash game where you're going around, you're trying to do different things. I'm not going to spoil anything because there's lots of spoilers in this game. It's a campaign where you play through different stories. And you've got this amazing book that opens up into this crazy pop-up book. And the first time you play through it, you're going to see stuff and it's going to tell you to do something and interact with the book. And things are going to be, I don't want to spoil it, all sorts of weird things and interesting things happen with the book. And it pops up and it's huge. Some of the stuff's really tall, like they'll be at your eye level from the table. And there's all sorts of different things you can do. I don't want to spoil it, but if you like sort of adventure games, dungeon crawl games, but in a lighter theme, or games where you're chucking dice, but there's some strategy about who goes where and who does what and who has an ability that allows them to do something else easier. There is some randomness in the dice, which can kind of stink, but overall, the game is awesome. It looks cool, and it does some unique things that I've never seen done in a game, and it's one that both adults will love, helping their children through it, and that's Wonderbook.
Number 1.
Now, before we get to the headliner for this video, I wanted to let you know that if you like my content, you can now get exclusive content as I just launched a Patreon campaign where you can see my first impressions on games days or weeks before the reviews, or even tons of games that never do get a featured review. You can vote on which games I'm going to review, watch me open packages from publishers as I guess what's in there, and you'll get access to my videos and an audio podcast of those videos a day before they go public. And if this sounds interesting to you, you can enjoy this exclusive content all while supporting me and the channel at patreon.com/GameBoyGeek. All right, here we go. Children Game of the Year. This is Museum Suspects. This is designed by Phil Walker Harding, who is one of my favorite designers, and it's from Blue Orange Games. They always do great kids games and adult games too. This game has adorable art. I mean, it's just so cute to look at. This is similar to, I'd say, like Guess Who, like that deduction game that pretty much most people know about. But there's more of a game here. You're gaining clues. You're trying to find the thief, the museum suspect. You're trying to find the one that stole the stuff from the museum. And you're gaining clues, but you're also possibly bluffing about how good the clue is that you got. Because when you look at a clue, you're going to be putting a number down there from one of your tokens. And if somebody else goes to look at that clue, they have to put that number or higher. And you only have so many of each number. So, but then you're also placing one of your tokens that has a number face down on one of the people every turn that you think might be the suspect. And there's a lot of information I gained from that. Someone got a clue and they guessed this person. Okay, does that mean that maybe they're in the bottom right quadrant? Does that mean that that person has a hat? Or are they completely bluffing, trying to throw me off? There's different levels you can play this game at. This is a great children's game, but it's actually a fun, quick deduction game that adults like too. I've played this with Just Gamers and we've had a blast with it. It's just a very good deduction game, but it's good for kids as well. You're also deciding which numbers to use, which one are you going to use for the clues versus which ones are you going to use versus trying to gain the suspects. Because at the end of the game, once you learn who the suspect is, you'll get points based upon the number that you placed face down on them. So you might have to use some of your higher numbers to get a clue that you think is the clue that you need, but then you won't have that for guessing which one it is. There's a good balance here, lots of strategy, light strategy here. You could be bluffing. When you pick which suspect you think it is, as the game goes on, you could be putting them face down. You could put multiples there on subsequent turns. You could be totally bluffing people out. It doesn't matter. So you could play this game at different levels is what I'm saying. And the cool thing is at the end, there could be just one thief, there could be no thieves, and there could be multiple thieves. And depending on that, it scores differently. If you think there's no thief, there's a special spot. You could place your token. If there's no thief, you'll get points if you went there. It's such a clever game. It's a beautiful game. It's awesome. It's easy to teach. It's fun for kids, but awesome for adults, which is why it's also, now this one is ages 8 and up. I assume you could probably play it with younger kids. It just depends on the kids. They all vary. But that is my children's game of the year, Museum Suspects. All right, I hope this helped you find games, especially like the last one, that you could play as adults and still have fun, or play some with kids that both you and the kids will have fun with. This has been the Game Boy Geek, breaking down barriers, growing relationships with board games, helping you find the next one you'll love. Game Toppers not only transforms your existing table to a high-quality gaming solution, they now offer full leg kits and dining cover solutions for the full table application. Paired with their amazing, thematic, premium stitch edge mats from noted board game artists like Vincent Dutray, collapsible cup holders, and really cool accessories, it's a complete system that upgrades every game you play. Go to GameToppersLLC.com or click the link below to late pledge for their latest Game Topper 3.5 Kickstarter campaign.